To my podcast about sports.
Howdy, Ags. Welcome to the Tailgate. AP, Corey from the Tailgate. Brought to you by Frida Homes, building Aggie dreams. Love me some dreams. Visit them at fridahomes.com. Folks, once again, don't forget to email us at agstailgate@gmail.com. Send us some commentary, questions, whatever is clever. Visit us on the YouTube page. Subscribe. Get in there. Throw some comments in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? Speaking of some commentary, comments from the fans. I wish I could say what this name is, but it's a bunch of letters and numbers. He says, Ag's going to have to rebuild and get a new coach.
I don't know about rebuild.
Yeah.
That's pretty harsh.
There's no need to rebuild, I don't think. I think that,
The coach
and I'm not ready to fire Jimbo either. I mean, we've talked about it, right?
I'm not saying just Jimbo. Maybe some of the coaching staff needs to be...
An offensive coordinator and a new defense coordinator, for example.
Yeah, defensive coordinator Durkin's failed miserably.
We'll see. We'll talk about it a little bit more during the show, but I think this week will show us a lot. Parr says, great to see the defense get after it. Much more physical while Alabama made some plays. We didn't make it easy for them. Fully agree. Great commentary there by Parr. Yeah. Hopefully the golf game is going well, Parr.
I don't know if that's Robert Parr. He used to be a guy we used to drink with named Robert Parr.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe.
Joe Tronkel says, props to A&M for almost doing it back-to-back. The catches that we talked about in our prior episode kept A&M in the game. Mm-hmm. Also, the Bama fumbles, obviously. And he thinks we could have used some screens. So, obviously, this is in response to the fact that, you know, some folks are saying, well, look, you know, here's the scheme did work this week. You know, they kept us in the game against Alabama. Mm. In reality, as we stated last week in the pod, you know, some of those plays were made just because they were incredible plays by the incredible athletes that we actually have on the field, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, what scheme is he talking about? The offensive scheme or the defensive scheme?
Offensive.
I was going to say, because defensively, those guys were making plays. I mean, we changed our defensive scheme up.
No, he's talking, you know, we referred to it last week, you know, the big catch by Stewart, the catch by Moose, you know.
Yeah,
you know, as opposed to Jimbo's idea that, look, the plays are already there. Right. They just got to make them, whatever.
And it's been an Aggie thing of going on. We play up to our competition, down to, and that's what I'm worried about this week with South Carolina coming up. That, you know, we beat South Carolina handily over the years. And
all right, so let's get into South Carolina. South Carolina comes in at 4-2, 1-2 in the conference, 1-3 in a row though, 3-1 at home also, so they're better at home. We've seen that. Their wins over Georgia State, Charlotte, South Carolina State, and Kentucky. In reality, you look at those wins and you don't really see anything impressive until you see that Kentucky win.
Right.
But the win over Kentucky was without Will Levis, and we'll get into that a little bit more. And then they lost to Arkansas 44-30, and they got absolutely annihilated by Georgia 48-7. Everybody's pretty much been getting annihilated by Georgia except for Missouri, apparently.
Yeah.
And
Kent State.
So I guess, you know, knowing that, at this point, I think a lot of people have a perception about South Carolina that they're a pretty good team. But if you start to really dig into it, they're not as good as their record maybe, even though they're probably well coached.
They beat a Georgia State team who just lost to App State 42-17 last night.
Right.
And App State beat us, but they beat us 17-14. I'm not saying much about that. I mean, what can you read into that?
Transitive property doesn't really work in college football.
And Jimbo's thing is over the past, he's gotten better as the season goes on. You know, the players are either getting into the scheme or...
So last year when we then lost to Ole Miss and LSU later in the season...
Well, we got better. We were getting better. Our offensive line, did the offensive line not look better, you said? And that's our biggest thing right now is offensive line. If they're getting better, we should be better. Because defensively, we're getting healthier.
Defensively, we are getting healthier, and there's a lot of things that play into that. Look, South Carolina, I went back and watched a lot of that South Carolina-Kentucky game, right? And you start off with the fact that Kentucky was without Will Levis, who is a big part of what they do. They
everything.
redshirt freshman quarterback hadn't ever had a start. You know, the guy, you know, and he struggled some, right?
And Rodriguez is just coming back from the injury too.
Rodriguez just coming back. On top of that, very, very first play of offense for Kentucky, they try to get cute with their new quarterback, run a reverse. In the handoff from the back to the reverse, they drop the football at the 20-yard line.
And the defense picks it up.
Yeah, South Carolina picks it up and takes it to the 2-yard line, score on the very next play. So they start the game on a 7-point lead given to them by Kentucky. Kentucky also had another interception. And then later in the game, though, I will say that one of the scores by Kentucky late was sort of South Carolina. That game was done, right?
Yeah.
The game was done. So they got to score with about 2 minutes left.
They were playing some of their backups. I got you.
Right. So you know, it kind of goes back and forth. At the end of the day, it's a good win by South Carolina. It's a good win, but it's not really that impressive of a win when you consider everything that went on, and especially the fact that Will Levis, who's, you know, Kentucky's guy on offense, Will Levis wasn't on the field, right?
I mean, where is South Carolina better than us at? What positions? I mean, maybe offensive line?
Yeah. I mean, and I think that to me is the biggest point that has to be pointed out here, right? The thing that has to be pointed out the most is the fact that talent-wise, go look at recruiting classes, go look at transfers, go look at everything you want to. South Carolina is not in the same hemisphere as what the Aggies are. And don't tell me, well, the Aggies are all young. We've been recruiting at this level since Jimbo's been here.
Exactly.
In the top 10 since Jimbo's been here. Even before that, by the way, we were recruiting at a much higher level than South Carolina.
Right.
So some of them recruited better than South Carolina. So, you know, there is no excuse talent-wise, right? These are two teams, and last year's game showed the discrepancy in talent.
Right. And our offense is basically the same offense this year as last year. It should be an upgrade is what we said to quarterback, but it hasn't shown that.
The question then becomes, where would South Carolina be making up the difference? Because they're only a 3-point dog in this game. Now, one, they're at home.
Yeah.
They play better at home.
Everybody's supposed to.
But does that make up the talent discrepancy? I don't think so.
Special teams, maybe? I don't know.
So at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the coaching, right? And look, Beamer, on all accounts, from everything you've seen, including production, win totals, and everything else, has done a pretty darn good job with that team.
With what he has, yeah.
Yeah, with the talent level that he has. And they brought in Rattler. Well, Rattler didn't have a great year at Oklahoma last year, but he was a former number 1 quarterback recruit.
He was a number 1 Heisman guy coming into last year, I guess it was, till Caleb went on.
Until he started playing.
Yeah, until he started playing.
So, I mean, obviously the kid's got some talent. He also has some limitations, right? He hadn't been extremely accurate with the football. He hasn't been very decisive in the way he delivers the ball. You know, so he's still not producing at this number 1 recruit type of level, but he's an upgrade from whatever they've had there before.
Oh, God, they went through like 4 or 5. They had a walk-on last year as quarterback or a coach, wasn't it? What is it, coach?
Yeah. He was a former coach. He was in there. Then he came in as a graduate assistant and ended up being their quarterback for most of the game. So
yeah, he's got to be an upgrade.
So he's an upgrade.
Oh, geez.
Look, and we'll go right into the offense here, right? And look, these guys are going to run and get in the gun a lot. They will go under center some. They're going to use 2 tight ends a bunch. They are a running team.
Yeah.
Their entire offense is based off of the running game.
Yeah.
They're going to hand the ball off to Marshawn Lloyd, who's a damn good tailback, by the way. Big, physical guy. He's had, he's missed some time for injuries in prior years, but the guy's really doing a good job. They're going to hand him the ball, and they're going to play action off of that.
That's what you should do.
They're going to boot him out of the pocket because their offensive line is okay, not great physically. But you know what? They're pretty sound as far as assignment-wise, right? They're going to pick up they're just not going to stay with it that long or be overly physical in their blocking. But like I said, it's based off of the running game.
That's what I thought we were going to do. But anyway, we haven't done that. So I mean, is our offensive line that good? Are we going to run a 4? What are we running defense? 4-2 against that?
Yeah, I think that's going to be. Look, if you ask me, what is the number one key in this game? Whether we're talking offensively or defensively, the first and most important thing is DJ Durkin has to come out in a 4-man line.
We got to stop the run, right?
We have to stop the run. Stop the run,
We shut them down.
and you're gonna be
Make Spencer Rattler beat you with his arm. Because if you stop the run, they can't do play action. What are you going to get fooled by?
And you don't want to put 3-man pressure on them even when they are in the passing game, right? I mean, that's not the way. That's not our best approach.
Yeah.
Bring some pressure, do some things. If Beamer is going to do everything he can to keep the pressure off of Rattler because, and what does that mean? They're going to run some draws on 3rd and longs. They're going to do some screens. They're going to let him get rid of the ball easy. They're going to boot him out and have him easy passes. All of the things that he possibly can to take the pressure off, which means that at 3rd and long, they're not going to snap it to him and let him sit there and read defenses for 5 seconds because that's likely a bad recipe.
Refresh my memory. Is Rattler, does he run much? Will he run? Is he capable?
He's a capable runner. He's a good athlete. He's a good athlete. And he will take, when he gets back there and if he doesn't see anything, he'll take off. And he's done that a lot this year, actually. Sometimes in situations when maybe he should actually throw the football, right? But he's not confident. He's not confident in the passing game. He's not confident in his arm. He's not confident in his decision making. And it's very clear that they've told him, give us a chance. Just don't turn the ball over.
Because that's what's happened last game against Alabama. We, had them 3rd and long, and they lose containment. Quarterback gets out, runs for a first down. That killed us.
He's nowhere near the athlete that Alabama's.
No, I agree with that. But I mean, I'm saying a quarterback that can run has been hurt us.
Yeah. And that's another reason with the 4-man contain, using those guys to try to contain them up front. But if they come out in a 3-man line, this is going to be App State all over again. Because if they stay in a 3-man line, Beamer will run the football all day long, right down the gut.
Right.
They're going to hand it to Lloyd 30 times if you let them. So that not only does that hurt you defensively because they're going to score and they're going to do those things, but it's going to hurt you offensively because you're not going to have the ball either, right?
Right.
So if you allow them to do that, if you don't put the necessary bodies up on the line, and in the box is necessary also if you need to bring a safety or whatever, and they run the football, then I think you can call this a loss.
Do they throw the ball to tight ends much? I don't know. I haven't watched them play too much.
No, not a ton. They use those tight ends obviously in their blocking schemes and that kind of stuff, but they're not that heavily involved. And one of those guys came from Oklahoma with Rattler, right?
Yeah.
And so, but they don't use him a ton in the passing game. Their passing game is more, Lloyd also involved in the passing game. I think he's their 3rd leading receiver. But they're 2 outside guys, Wells and Brooks, number 13, number 3. Both of those guys are the ones that they normally target in a lot of this stuff. And usually on the play action, they've got something over the top that they're looking for, and then they've got the check down. They hit the check down a bunch on different things.
So what do you want to see Durkin do besides a 4T? You want to see blitzes? You want to see man outside? You want to see zone? What are you talking?
Look, you know me. You know me.
I'd rather man up and
play.
Yeah,
right?
I think our cornerbacks are great. I mean, right now our secondary's played great. Give him a chance to make a play.
Look,
putting pressure on the quarterback and making a bad throw. If he sits back in the pocket, Rattler, I don't think he's a great quarterback by any means, but he's gonna pick us apart if you give him all day to throw.
Yeah, and here's my thing, right? My thing with this is the fact that, like you've said, right? Like you've said, we've got the better athletes,
right,
on the field.
Yeah.
Are their wide receivers good? They're okay. They're okay. Yeah. Are they as good as the guys that we were lining up on the other side of them in the secondary? No, they're not.
That's what I'm saying. No,
they're not. So man it up. Bring some, especially on passing downs. Bring some heat. Does that mean go straight man? Oh well, you can bring 5 and still keep a safety over the top, right, and help. Or even bring 5 and have somebody underneath for the crossers to try to help out on those in those different areas, right? In a zone capacity. So you can do a number of different things in how you bring pressure, but I think you definitely don't let them sit back there and just, 3-man pressure and
Right.
and then,
Because it hasn't worked all year.
take the time. Right. It
Any,
hadn't
any
worked.
team we played, they're just salivating. They're like, oh man, they're running 3-man front. This is great. Let's
This is great.
do whatever we want to.
All day, every day.
Yeah, we can either sit back in the pocket and throw the ball against them, or we can run against them. It doesn't matter. It's like we're not stopping either one of them. All we're doing is letting them get down to the 20, and then our defense tightens up, and we hold them to field goals or maybe a turnover. That's
So
what's happened all year. It's
that
so
is
frustrating.
That is, and so that's sort of the point, right? I mean, I think you have to. It comes right back down to it. Put your guys in the box, 4-man line. Let those guys sit in there and play. Stop the run. Let those linebackers focus in directly on the running game. Don't worry about the outside motions and all this other jazz, right?
Mm-hmm.
Focus in on the tailback because he's the guy. Right?
Are they
He
running
is
like
the
a
guy.
read option at all? Are they running much of that?
Yeah, some read,
I
but
didn't know if Cooper's gonna have to spy the quarterback because he doesn't excel too much at that. He seems more of like a cornerback or a safety when I watch Cooper. I'm being honest. That's what I've seen from him. When he spies somebody, he loses focus. It seems like he watches them for a little bit, then he's like, oh,
yeah. If you ask me, he just needs to trigger on the run, right?
yeah,
Take the time. Look, and that's the guy that is going to that offense is going to run through. So forget everything else, right? If you're the linebackers, trigger on him. If Rattler beats you, hey, so be it, right? So be it. Tip your hat, like you said. So, and I think like I said, to me, that is number one overall offense, defense. The number one thing you got to do to win this game on Saturday.
I don't know if you watch Beamer's dad coach, and I'm not sure if Beamer's much like his dad, but his dad, the games weren't ever real pretty. It wasn't it was more of a grinded out offense.
Right.
We're going to beat you with special teams. I mean, he had great special teams play back then, but if his son coaches like his dad did,
Yeah.
he's not going to take the 4th down chances like you see. He's got it 4th and 2 from the 50. He's going to punt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's still happening now with Beamer the way he's coaching now. I haven't watched him in South Carolina, but what I'm saying, if it's anything like his dad, I watched Virginia Tech play back in the day.
They've gone for it a couple times in with around the 50, in those areas. But that's his general philosophy is that, right? He's going to base this off of, especially with the talent he's got on this team, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna try to put the defense in a good position.
Right.
He's gonna run the football and try to protect his quarterback.
Right.
And then see what happens from there. Now, if you let him do that, good luck to you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think they're going to look for more of a time possession game. South Carolina is. It's going to be an ugly game. That's what I think. It's going to be ugly, low scoring. That's what I'm seeing from what I know of his dad. Now I think he's going to do a lot of that, and what you're saying, the running the game.
And for that reason, today or Saturday especially, I think McKinley Jackson is huge.
Oh,
right?
he was
I
huge.
think McKinley Jackson is huge.
Yeah.
Because that's the guy that's going to really be the focal point up front.
Mm-hmm.
How does he help you? He helps you in taking up those offensive linemen and stopping the run and making plays in the running game. He's going to help keep the linebackers clean so that they can come up and make some plays in the running game.
Right.
But not only that, he's going to give some of those other defensive linemen one-on-one opportunities to go in there and make some plays.
And we saw it against Alabama.
And we saw it against Alabama. So
Exactly.
McKinley Jackson, huge. The play of the linebackers is always a big factor, right? I'll say this particular team, South Carolina, does not use like a ton of misdirection motion.
Yeah.
If I were them, I'd be implementing that this week, by the way, because our linebackers, just like theirs, we'll talk about in a second, struggle with all that, right? So I would use it, but they don't necessarily use it a ton. We'll see if they bring that up. So that should allow those linebackers to play a little bit looser, a little bit better.
And not just looser, better, but more aggressive.
Yeah, more
because
aggressive.
that way they can get more downhill instead of playing back and being like, oh, let's.
And
see
if I'm
what-
saying Tucci, I'm literally telling both of those guys, Russell and Cooper, you get your eyes on that tailback. When he moves, you go.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you.
The hell with everything else, right?
And
if it's play action, keep on coming to the quarterback. You know what I mean?
If I'm Durkin, I'm talking to the cornerbacks and safety saying, hey, we're going to win or lose this game with y'all because y'all are going to be in man coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Play action, you stay on those receivers. They're going to run it. They're going to throw it deep. Rattler's going to throw it deep. He's going to take his shots when he has it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying we're putting this game on y'all. We're going to have 7 guys up here attacking that run, attacking the quarterback. He's going to throw the ball up in the air, and y'all go get it. And then
those safeties need to know. Those safeties, those corners, all need to know. Look, you got man responsibilities. Play action or not.
Right.
You got to stick with your guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I think that's the key defensively. Ultimately, I don't think Rattler's going to beat you.
He's going to try to take it deep if he can, because that's what his MO was at Oklahoma. He threw the ball away a lot. I'm talking like he would throw it deep, but Oklahoma did that. That's what Oklahoma did. Beamer, I think he's more of a play action. Hey, we're going to take our shots when we have them. Kind of like what Jimbo wants to do. I mean, they're a lot like A&M.
Except Jimbo doesn't like to use play action. So
yeah, I think he dumbs it down more.
All right, so looking at their defense and the matchup with the Aggie offense, and so first things first, their base is basically a 4-2-5, a lot like ours, right?
Is it ours? Is ours a 4-2-5?
It's not a 3-2-6.
Yeah, I don't know what ours is.
They will vary it up a little bit, make it look more like a 3-4 sometimes, but that's what they like to do, right? And if you look at the 3 different levels, I sort of mentioned it a minute ago. Their linebacker play is a lot like ours in that they're not real fast. Yeah. They're not real fast in reacting to things. They're not great at sort of seeing it. They don't. You know, misdirection and motion and things distracts them, slows them down. And on top of that, they're not as good at physical athletes as ours are. So they've got all the bad qualities and none of the good qualities, right? But if, on the other hand, if what you do is just come right at them, if all they got to do is see it and go, those guys will stop to, get in there on the run at least. They'll get in there. Which is what we do, right? That's what we do. We no frills, no nothing, right? We're gonna run it. We're gonna show the run it, and go.
I hope.
So their linebacker play is not great. Up front, they're sound. They're real sound, and they got some big boys inside. By the way, 91 and 6. Those guys down in front are big and somewhat active, right? Their defensive ends are okay. They're not great, right? But all those guys are sound. They're going to stay in their lane. They're going to take care of their responsibilities. In the run game, they're going to try to hold up those offensive linemen, right? They're not necessarily just penetrating and going. They're going to try to make sure that to keep the quarterback in the pocket, in the passing game, different things like that. They're sound. They're not great. They're good.
Right.
They're not great. On the back end is probably where they probably got their best guys. The corners are actually pretty good. The safeties help out some of stuff like that. They ask their safeties to do a lot as well, just like our defense does, right?
Right.
They'll bring those guys up in the box to try whenever they're trying to load up the box against the run. Against us, you're gonna see that. Those safeties will be downhill. They will also take the bait, right? So
for the play action,
they're going to react, come downhill, especially if you've been able to move the ball. They will do those things.
Our play action's been terrible this year, though. What are they going to buy them?
Yeah.
I mean,
if they, absolutely. And that's the whole thing. If you can't get the running game
line's
going,
not holding the play action up at all. I mean, they're just like letting them go.
Yeah, if you can't get the running game going, then that's not going to help you a ton. Not to mention, I mean, like I said, our play action is weak. It's one of these, like, token play action types of situations on most occasions. So for our offense, what does all that mean? What does all that mean for our offense? It means a couple of things. One, I think A-Chain is the key to this game, right?
Yeah.
Because A-Chain's going to it's not going to be big play A-Chain. I'm talking about consistent production A-Chain.
4 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry.
With an occasion, he'll break one eventually. Don't get me wrong.
So
that's the way he goes.
Is that what you're saying?
But he's got to be able to play. But for him to do that, once again, and here's the thing: this defense is better when you're trying to run the ball sideways.
Yeah.
Than just trying to run the ball downhill.
So you're saying get downhill.
So get downhill. right? Inside zone, inside gap schemes, run the power, run those things. Inside.
Have you heard any injury news? I haven't heard any injury news. I don't know who's offensive line, who's healthy, who's not. Who's starting at left tackle? Who's left guard?
We haven't heard on Zoom. He's the big one, I think. So we'll have to see where that comes out on Saturday.
And he's not in. Aki's starting at left tackle again?
Let's hope not. Let's hope not.
There's got to be a better option than that, right?
You know, and there's other options. We don't know if they're better, but there's other options, right?
You and I could have gone out there and played better than he did against Alabama. I could have gotten the guy's way.
Yeah,
I would have
every once
taken
in a
my
while.
ass whooping here and there, but I would have gotten his way.
Yeah, that's true. At least try to trip him up.
Something.
Dive at his feet.
Yeah.
Something.
Not afraid to clip.
So that's a good point, right? The other question is, who do we see at left guard? Is Dewberry going to get the start there? I thought he played pretty decently in the second half last week. So I'd consider that. I'd definitely consider that. With Zune, whether Zune is at left tackle or not, I'd rather give Dewberry a shot at this point.
Are we going more 2 tight ends?
And that's my next point. I think you've got to start using those tight ends because they're still going to have safeties and things in the box. They're going to try to do some things. Well, don't just sit in there and let them do whatever they want to defensively and throw your 4 wide receivers out there and try to beat it down the middle without any support. Put some tight ends in there and then give Achane a chance to make some plays, right?
Yes.
Don't give up on the running game just because they got folks in the box. Adjust, put more folks in the box on your end, and then go hit them.
Because we don't even know who's going to be the quarterback right now, right? I mean, I'm leaning Haynes King.
So everything we hear, Haynes is healthy and is back practicing, doing everything we have.
Does that make you excited?
I've said all along that Haynes is the guy that's going to give you the best chance to win. He just is.
Any games that we play?
This year.
Okay.
This year.
I disagree.
I'm not sure I'm going to say that's not the case next year, but this year.
I think Johnson proved that he could win some games.
Did he?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Johnson would have got sacked 10 times last week, but
Haynes puts the ball in harm's way too many times, and that's not what we needed with our defense. That's my biggest issue with Haynes is the turnovers, and he comes out. I mean, he plays a couple series when Max gets hurt, and he throws 2 picks right away. I mean, yeah, they probably weren't his fault, but it still happens. I mean, if it happens to you over and over.
So you're right. I mean, and maybe in some of these games, and especially in a game like this, where you should be in a situation where you don't want to turn the ball over. Maybe Haynes isn't always the best alternative.
Right.
He's the best alternative for you to go out there and blow him out, though. I promise you that, and actually have a productive offense.
And that's what you want to see as a blowout, huh?
I just want to see a productive offense, a real productive offense. By the way, Max Johnson's not an option. So.
Well, I'm just saying. But you're saying Haynes has been the best option all year. I disagree with that. I'd love to see Connor. I don't know what we're gonna get from Connor though.
We don't know.
That would be
But considering that he's a freshman in Jimbo's offense that requires 80,000 decisions, in 2 seconds, it's probably not a great result, right?
I can't believe we can't dumb that down some.
I'll say this week especially, you're going to have an opportunity to, because of the defense that they play, you're going to have an opportunity with some one-on-one matchups on the outside, whether it's Moose, whether it's Stewart, right? Marshall. You're going to have some one-on-one opportunities. Haynes will give those guys a chance to go make one-on-one plays.
Yeah, he'll give everybody a chance to make a play.
Hey, look.
They proved last week they can go up and make the play.
They could go up and make those plays.
Yeah,
that's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Those receivers are that talented.
They can make it.
Give them a chance.
But you also said
Preston, by the way.
You also said South Carolina's strength is their secondary. I'm just saying.
It was because there's no other strength, it's their secondary.
I agree. That's my whole point about this game. The only place I really see them in the trenches, their offensive line is probably better than it is better than offensive line. But is their defensive line better than not? No. Our defensive line should dominate their offensive line. But the problem's going to be, is their defensive line going to dominate our offensive line? Because that's what it comes down to. And that's what's happened all year. Yeah. Our offensive line has been dominated by...
This is probably also the worst defensive line we'll face all year, by the way. Maybe outside of Sam Houston and UMass.
Oh,
right?
yeah. I agree. No, I agree with you.
It's probably probably one of the cleaner pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever the quarterback is will have.
My whole thing is, if we
in my opinion,
we should win this game easily. That's my thing. That's my thought process. We should win this game easily, but I thought that App State too. But.
Right. We should have beat App State easily. All right. So, look, like I said, I think it's important that A-Chain is a guy that's getting consistent production. I think that you need to make sure to use some 2 tight end sets. Get yourself some different surfaces up front. Use the power running game. Get downhill on those guys. And then I think it's very important that you come in and have some real play action. Right? Real play action. Because I think that's where you're going to get opportunities for those wide receivers to get over the top and make some big plays. And as we said, those guys can make plays.
Yeah, and I'd like to see him throw the ball over the middle of the field. Green over the middle of the field. Moose shows he's not afraid to go over the middle. Stewart's not afraid. Marshall, use the middle of the field. It seems like Haynes sometimes wants to throw the ball deep along the sidelines a lot. It's just, I want to see.
Well, but if you look at some of the run, the patterns, the routes, they're all out there, right?
That's
so you can't use the middle of the field when there's no routes in the middle of the field, right?
Yeah.
So
in the same spot.
Yeah, how about get that guy outside out of the twins look on one side where maybe the inside guy runs it deep. You sort of rub the outside guy into the middle off of that with a little play action, so the linebackers suck up, and then you just hit them right over.
It sounds easy, right? But you make it look hard.
Or drop the tight end into that little area, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. Just little things.
It's so frustrating.
Little things.
Yeah.
All right, Corey. Look, end of the day, I think we've got a lot of advantages in this matchup, right?
Oh yeah.
On both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
I want to go into predictions.
All right, go.
All right, I want to go into predictions. A&M is -3 on the road against South Carolina. Do they cover?
I believe, like I just said, they should. This should be. I think this, besides UMass and Sam, one of the weaker. I think South Carolina might lose to App State if they play. If that makes sense. They beat Kentucky last week, but Kentucky was down a quarterback.
They're well coached.
They are well coached.
They're well coached, but they're not. They don't have the talent that
believe
anybody else will face in the SEC.
We should win this game. If I had to pick this might be our highest scoring game of the year. I'm saying 30 points.
Yeah.
30. I'll give them 17, and I don't even know how they're going to get that on our defense. It might just be all field goals. It might be 30 to 15. That's my prediction. I'm saying, the over-under is 44.5, 45 points. I think I saw today, 45. It's going to be right around that number. I see us.
Yeah, I saw it at 44.5.
Yeah.
And that's a tough number for me. I normally
Hit the under.
lean towards the under with the Aggies playing. This week, I don't know. I'm on the edge, but I might.
What?
Go
over? What? Give me a score. What's the final score?
So look, I do think that the Aggies win this game, right? I do think the Aggies cover the 3 points. And I do think so because of the fact that we just have so much talent that they don't have, right? And at the end of the day, that's a big part of it. So I do think that end covers. On the over-under, I'm thinking as far as score prediction.
What do you think, like 35-17, 35-20? Aggies are going to more than 35,
27-10 maybe, so I'm still going under.
You just said over. You're leaning over. What the hell is that?
I know. I changed my mind.
Jeez.
I changed
God, y'all saw it here. You see that? How quick you did that?
27-10.
27. I'm leaning over. 27-10. That's not lean.
That's not good. No, that's not even close. Not even close. So
Mine was closer.
Yeah. No. I'm definitely gonna stay on the under.
Oh God.
All right. So offensive player of the game.
I'm sure you're leaning A-Chain. If he gets in and plays good at guard, that's going to be my offensive player of the game. But I think I like Green over the middle. I think if they do play action, I like Green over the middle. I like him.
That's a good one.
I think Wright's gonna play a big game if they do 2 tight ends. But I never know what the hell Jimbo's thinking.
Yeah, I mean, A-Chain's an easy choice, obviously,
Yeah.
pre-game every week, just because of the fact that, when he's on, we're good.
Yeah.
And I did say that, look, if he can do that, then we're going to win this game. I'm going to go Moose.
I like that too.
Take advantage of some of the safety matchups on some of the play action stuff, some of the one-on-ones. It could easily be Stewart in the same boat, but I like the green pick as well. I think that's a nice one.
I think the A-Chain needs to touch the ball a lot. I mean, I don't know what a lot is.
How about tailbacks need to touch the ball a lot? I agree that A-Chain needs to be there. I wouldn't hesitate to give it to any of the other guys either.
By the way, we're coming off a bye week. So is South Carolina. But we should be getting better.
Yeah.
And we should be prepared for this game.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be look-aheads. I mean, it should be this is our focus. It's our first game, basically, of the season, starting back over.
Absolutely.
I mean, talent should be organized to beat them. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it should be.
All right, so how about defensive player of the game?
Well, I love McKinley Jackson. That's the one we already talked about. But I'm going to put somebody on the secondary. It's got to be somebody in the secondary. I'm not sure exactly who's healthy. I think Antonio Johnson will have a huge game. I think he's going to have just a huge game because I think they're going to bring him up. I think he's going to be able to put pressure because he's going to be helping out with the tight ends a little bit. I think he's going to get pressure in there. I think Antonio Johnson will have a huge game.
I like the Antonio Johnson. Look, McKinley Jackson, I think, like we said earlier, has to have a huge game.
Yeah.
But in the sense that he has to have a huge game, his stats probably won't necessarily reflect that. I still think he's probably the key for this defense. And so I'm going to stick with McKinley.
Because we got to find out about injuries. I'm still not sure about Jalen Jones, Chappelle, just different players.
Yeah.
White, I don't know if he's coming back this year, if he's done for the season. Just, there's a bunch of variables.
Getting White back would be pretty good.
That'd be huge.
But I don't think that's happening this week.
No.
All right. All right. So look, overall, we think that the Aggies are probably winning this game. We think that they're probably going to be a.
What happens if they don't win this game? That's what I mean. I'm just, that's a real question. What happens if the Aggies don't win this game? If the Aggies show up like Kentucky did and they get beat, where are we at? Where are we doing? Are we doing a podcast anymore?
This may become the SEC tailgate.
Yeah, it might be a South Carolina tailgate or something.
Or the Screw Jimbo tailgate.
Something seriously will have to change if we don't win this game.
Yeah.
And
look, there's no look. I'm not even going to touch that subject yet because I don't think that that's even a real possibility. If
how can it not be a real possibility? We lost to Ags State on our home field.
Yeah, it's not.
How can that be? Oh, I can't. That's got to be a real. We got beat. We get our asses kicked by Mississippi State there, and we saw what they were. Mississippi State's 21-point dogs against Alabama.
Yeah. So I'm not even going to give that any credence right now. Look,
we'll cross that bridge.
Yeah, we will cross. Trust me, I will have a lot to say about it.
I'll be nervous about the rest of our games, the rest of the season, if we don't beat South Carolina.
All
I'm
right.
even talking UMass. I might get nervous about UMass. Go ahead.
Bets at the gate, baby. Bets at the gate. Let's go around the country.
I'm ready.
All right, starting the SEC. Ole Miss at LSU. LSU's -2, 68 over under.
Hey, man, I talked to my insider at Ole Miss. He gave me some good inside. He says take Ole Miss.
Take Ole Miss. I love it.
Take Ole Miss. He says Ole Miss has been a running team. They can throw the ball when they need to, and they've been a good defense.
They're going to need to because LSU's front, they're strong up front, especially bringing pressure on the quarterback.
And I'll tell you, I've been impressed. The little I've seen of Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin's a funny coach, man. He cracks me up. I mean, he's not afraid to go onside kick whenever the hell he wants to. And
sometimes he might put his team in a bad position.
Yeah, he'll. But yeah, I'll take Ole Miss. Who do you like?
Oh, the thing about it for me
is it a night game?
It's LSU at home.
What time's the game?
I think it's an earlier game, by the way.
That's fine.
It's LSU at home.
Yeah.
They played better lately. The thing that bothers me about this game is the fact that it's at home at LSU.
It didn't bother me at all. LSU just got their ass kicked at home against Tennessee.
It's a different team. All right. I'm gonna lean Ole Miss. I'm gonna lean Ole Miss.
You're not gonna take Ole Miss in the points? I'll take Ole Miss in the points all day, every day.
Vandy at Mizzou. Mizzou's minus 14 against Vandy. Mizzou's minus 14 against anyone. 51 over under. What do you think?
Vandy sucks.
That's it.
Mizzou.
Thank you. That's good enough.
I don't know about the spread. It's probably a game.
Vandy sucks.
Yeah, Vandy
done and
sucks.
done. Take Mizzou. Mississippi State at Bama. You said it earlier. 21 points.
Dude, I don't see 21 points is a lot of points.
It is.
I mean, I'll take the 21 points and Mike Leach and go with it from there. 'Cause, I mean,
We're not saying Bama's going to win. Mississippi State's going to win this game.
No, I'm not saying that. I think, but I think it's a lot closer. I mean, Alabama's receivers haven't impressed me that much. They're not getting the separation that they're used to getting.
Yeah.
Their defense is giving up big plays, and I mean, there's a talent difference. But Mike Leach, man, we saw what he did to us. He put up 40-something against A&M.
I want to take the points as well. I want to take the points because of the fact that I think that offense will at least keep them somewhat in the game.
Yeah.
I still think that Alabama's going to run the football against this defense.
Gotcha.
And they will win the game. But I'll take the points. All right, let's go around the country. Iowa at Ohio State. Ohio State's minus 30. It's up to minus 30. I think that was a little bit closer earlier.
Yeah, it was at 29.
Yeah, so there you go. Minus 30, 49 over on.
God, man, that's a lot of points for an Iowa team that's going to just try to run the ball on you all day. And the clock's going to be ticking.
If it goes up any further, I may not take it, but I think right now I'm still leaning Ohio State.
Well,
Iowa's
I'd
not
be
going to
leaning-
score is what I'm telling you.
I'm going to lean Iowa. 30 points, that's a lot of points.
Syracuse at Clemson. Clemson's minus 13.5. Over under 49.5. What do you think of that?
I think Syracuse is way overrated.
Take Clemson.
Yeah, I
Agree.
like Clemson.
At home.
Yep, Clemson.
Cincinnati, minus 3.5 at SMU. 58.5 over under.
I like what I saw from SMU, and Cincinnati, they've been so iffy, but I'll probably take Cincinnati. I don't know. Who do you like?
Yeah. Is SMU's home field advantage here all that great? I don't think so. I think Cincinnati's probably still the better team. SMU's 3-3 this year. I mean, it's not like they've been blowing it up, right?
Well, they lost to TCU, and they lost to some decent teams. Go ahead.
So I think I'd still take Cincy with, and give the points. Here's a big one. I like this game.
Go ahead.
UCLA, Oregon, minus 6.
Who's Oregon? Minus 6?
Mm-hmm.
UCLA's undefeated.
72 over under. A lot.
That's our rule right there, isn't it?
They want you to take the under.
Oh, man, we probably will. UCLA's been pretty good. Oregon's been hot ever since they lost to Georgia. Man, I don't know. Oregon's at home. I'd probably take Oregon.
I take UCLA.
Okay. I like the way we agree on this.
Yeah, no, we're right on point here. I would take UCLA. And the reason being is
Because
they're not getting enough credit for what they've done so far.
They're not getting it from me.
And
You're not giving Oregon any credit either.
No, they lost by like 170 to Georgia.
What were you saying?
In the first game under the first-year coach and yada, yada, yada.
New
So
quarterback,
all those things. Don't get me wrong. Oregon's played well, and I do. And look, Bo Nix probably doesn't get the credit he deserves for what he's done over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Much less just this year, right? So, he's not a bad quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He every once in a while he makes some boneheaded mistakes, but who doesn't? So he's not bad. I think Dorian Thompson, the quarterback for UCLA, has been playing really good football.
See, that's another team. I mean, I watched them once, and they looked okay. It was against, like, South Alabama.
Yeah. And
they were losing at halftime or something. It was right there. It was a close game. I was like, why is this game close?
Right, but that's the only thing you got in your head.
That's it. I mean, that's the problem. I've only seen them the one time. And
I like the points. I'm not saying they're going to win it outright. I think it's going to be close. I do think it's going to be a close game, and I probably still do take the over.
You got any more games on there?
Yeah, Texas minus 6.5 at Oklahoma State, over under 61.
I like the over. Big 12, 61. That game's over under 61. The over under in the Oregon game, 72.
Yeah, I'm probably going to take the over and then the under in the Big 12 game.
Well, who do you like in that game? Texas or Oklahoma State?
I like Oklahoma State plus
on the road.
Points.
Yeah, I do too.
I like Oklahoma State plus points. At home?
Yeah.
At home, Oklahoma State's played pretty well at home.
I like their coach. I like Oklahoma State's coach.
Yeah. And Texas
A lot of
may
people
win that
don't like
game.
it, but
Texas may win that game, but I don't. I think it's a close game even if they do.
Yeah.
Minnesota's at Penn State. Penn State's minus 4 coming off the butt whooping they took to Michigan.
This is another game I probably won't touch. If I had to touch it, Penn State's at home. I mean, they got to have a little bit of pride, right?
Yeah, and Minnesota's so up and down, and you just don't know what
you were high on them earlier this season, Minnesota.
Yeah, I'd probably still take Minnesota.
Yeah, I'll take Penn State.
K-State is at TCU -3.5. TCU -3.5.
I'll take TCU. I mean, I like K-State, what they've done. They've had some big wins. Oklahoma, they beat them pretty handily, but
At home.
K-State's at home.
TCU at home.
Oh, yeah, I'll take TCU. I'll take them and Sonny Dykes on the ball in the field.
I like it. I'm with you 100%.
That's scary.
Questions from the tailgate, brought to you by Carney's Pub and Grill. Good times, good drinks, good people. Will we see Connor?
You don't want to see him. I do, but I don't know.
The question's not do we want to see him. I said, will we see him?
No.
I'm going inside source today. Breaking news. Connor Wigman starts the game as the Aggie quarterback.
Where are you getting this from?
Connor Wigman starting this week.
Where are you getting this from?
Call him.
Call him. I thought you had an inside source.
Whatever.
Is your inside source just...
Corey?
All right, yeah.
Corey?
Listen. So, wait. You like the Aggies. You said Haynes King. You sat here and told us Haynes King gives us the best chance to win.
Yeah.
And you just said Connor's going to start.
I did. I said all those things.
Do you hear yourself talking?
Listen. Breaking news. I'm looking right into the camera.
Are you?
Breaking news. Connor Wigman will start the game against South Carolina.
This is what I put up with every week right here. Every week. All right. I hope so. I hope you're right.
I'd
love to see it.
That'd be your dream come true, Mike.
I've been asking for it all year.
I
said, why not start him right now, first game of the season? Let's just go at it.
And because of that, by the way,
think how good he'd be right now if he was starting every game.
Green might have an even bigger day with Connor starting because him and Connor have a good connection.
Well, that's because that one game you saw on the All-American or something. I know. You saw one game.
Get after it. All right. I don't know that I've got any more big news like that, but what is the one thing that will lead to a win in this game? For the offense, for the defense.
Same thing as all offensive line. It's always offensive line. It's been that way all year. And defense, I'm going to say the trenches also. It's always in the trenches. If we win the trenches, we win the games. We haven't won the trenches, we lost the games.
Defensively, I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times, play a four-man line for predominantly to the game.
Exactly.
Done. That's going to win. The result in a win.
Yeah.
Offensively, yes, it has to do with the offensive line.
You said
Consistent running game from A-Chain. That'll win.
Great.
Connor Wigman.
Yeah.
Corey, you want to say bye to the folks?
Yeah. Oh, God. Gig 'em eggs. Corey and AP signing out.